James Harden passes Ray Allen for threes. Your former teammate. We just mentioned him actually. So he's number 2 all time.
Yep.
He made a joke saying Steph doesn't count. He's really number 1.
That's so funny.
Do you think James is going to be looked at? He's such a talented offensive guy, and then you think about the other stuff that's kind of baked into his career, obviously, the unfortunate stuff about demanding trades and things like that, leaving teams. Do you think he's going to be looked at, though, as a three-point shooter? It's so, being number 2 all time.
No. I know.
It's crazy to think.
But there's a lot of, the three-point stuff is always shaky. I mean, like, Jason Kidd's, like, up there with, like...
In the beginning of his career, he couldn't shoot at all.
And he couldn't shoot threes at all.
Yeah.
But he's in the league for a while, and he knocked him down towards the end, and I think it's, so and he's not regarded at all as a three-point shooter.
Absolutely not.
He's known for everything else that he did. So when I think of James, I think of scorer. But we're in an NBA era where guys shoot a lot more threes. So, you're going to have guys like him, and Buddy Hield's going to end up being like a top 5. And I'm not even kidding. Buddy Hield will probably end up being like top 5 in the history of three-point makes.
Right.
Buddy Hield's never even been in the realm of being an all-star or anything near that. The names that he's going to be listed with is going to be like James and Ray Allen and Reggie Miller and Stephen Curry and Klay Thompson. And it's going to be Buddy Hield. That's the difference between this era, as we know, and the other era. We also are getting it's even more this year. We're getting it, but it's all threes. I mean, these guys shoot hundreds of threes, man. They shoot 50. Each team shoots 50 to 60 threes a night, 40 to 60 threes a night, ranging from, obviously personnel. That is a shit ton of threes. Where back then, I used to 08 Celtics. I'd go to a game and they'd be like, 5 for 13 from 3 that night. That's like the first quarter for teams now.
Yeah.
So it's just like, first off, tip your hat off to James. Being second all time in the NBA after Steph Curry in threes.
As talented as offensively, his three-point shot has always been like really up there, I think.
By the way,
underrated.
We're not talking spot shots here.
Yeah.
He's second all time in threes. My man's been hitting fucking step backs his whole career. Like, very tough threes. So you got to tip your hat off regardless, especially since some of the guys on that list have been playing in the same era. It's not like he just passed up all old guys because it's a new era. Like, Klay Thompson's been playing too. You know what I mean? Like, it's remarkable what James has done.
Do you factor that in as far as tough shot making when you want to say the best three-point shooters of all time and you throw in like the Steve Kerrs and people like that, Reggie Millers? Then you also have to look at guys like Damian Lillard and James Harden who they don't just do catch and shoot threes or regular threes.
Matters.
So you count that in as far as because when people talk about the best shooters of all time, I don't know if they necessarily factor that in. I think they should. That these guys are getting it off the dribble.
Steve Kerr is nuts for you to throw that name out there.
I mean, he has one of the best percentages of all time. I'm just saying, as far as do you factor in that, like Klay Thompson versus Steph Curry as far as shooting? Klay Thompson's not doing this, having the same threes as Steph Curry.
No, Steph's a better shooter.
Yeah.
But everyone knows that.
So James Harden being able to do that.
Yeah. I think it makes him a more multi-talented three-point shooter. If we're talking about catching and shoot, they each get 100 shots. Who am I banking on, James or Klay? I'm going Klay. They each get 100 threes at the top of the key. Who's making more? Klay Thompson is. If you have somebody defending them and you say, hey, you have to shoot off the dribble, who's making more? James is, obviously.
So you're saying James Harden could essentially do a Klay Thompson role, right? Once he gets old, if he wanted to.
No, I don't think he can shoot like Klay.
Okay.
Not off catch and shoot, not as quickly as he does. James needs time. He needs rhythm. He has to have this ball in his hands. There's like a jazz to the way he shoots threes. It's a rhythm thing. Klay runs up and down on a spot of a dot. Bro, half his threes, he's not even on balance. He's just like coming off, barely looking at the rim. Bro, it's a whole different type of shot.
Yeah.
We're talking pure shooting. He's not Klay Thompson.
Right.
If we're talking multi-talented, able to score and get his three off the dribble, then like James is a much better. James is a better player than Klay. Klay's good. He's not James. James is a top 75 player of all time. Klay should have been in that, but he's not James Harden. James is MVP of the NBA. Klay's never been in the realm of being an MVP.
Right.
We're talking about two different types of levels of player here. If we're talking just shooting, catch and shoot, that's what Klay is. Reggie Miller was a better catch and shoot player than James Harden. He ain't a better player. You know what I mean? No disrespect to Reggie Miller, who's also a Hall of Famer. But, James Harden is a much more talented offensive player and scorer. He's one of the most talented offensive players to ever grace the game of basketball. Whether you love him or hate him, I don't really give a fuck. You can't deny his greatness on offense. You know what I'm saying? So you got to tip your hat off to what he's done. Second all time. Again, we know it's a different era and we shoot more threes now. So that's why if Ray Allen played in today's era, he might be still number one and Steph would catch him in like a year or two. I think Steph was always going to be the number one all time. We all know that. But I think it would have been harder. I don't think he would have caught Ray like 40 years ago. Right. You know what I mean? Like he caught Reggie and Ray in an era, like 5 years ago. If Reggie Miller and Ray Allen played today, bro, and they're each shooting 12 threes a game,
Yeah. So Steve Nash actually did a podcast with Bill Simmons one time where he said, one of my biggest regrets if I could go back in time would be to shoot more threes. He was a 50, 40, 90 guy.
Yeah, he was
probably shot a
nuts.
couple threes a game.
That's what my point.
Yeah.
Like Ray would shoot like 5 threes. And they're like, man, when he shot 7, they're like, he let it go tonight. Bro, I've seen guys shoot 16 threes in a game. I played against Steph and I look at the box score and he shot 14 threes in one game. I'm like, gosh, damn. It's like 4 games for me. 14 in one game. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, imagine Steve Nash just constantly coming off picks, firing that thing. The guy had a cannon. So these numbers, it's different now. Again, I made the Buddy Hield example. Great shooter, different era.
Yeah.
If I grabbed Wesley Persons and told him to come into the NBA, he'd be fucking Buddy Hield. Shoot 6 threes a game.
Do you think
had Michael Redd just coming off a screen and firing threes?
So the three-point record with errors is tricky. I think the same thing with Hakeem Olajuwon having the all-time leader, being the all-time leader in blocks. It's going to be tough to catch only because people shoot so many threes and they don't get blocked.
Great point.
Threes don't really get blocked, right? So
no.
So it's
not by a big man.
So when all the shots were twos and Hakeem Olajuwon has the record for blocks in a career, how's anyone really going to catch him? You know what I mean? Because there's just not enough opportunities to block
It's a great point.
But then again, you still have the Chets and Wembys who are freaks that are young.
For sure. But it is a different NBA era. You know, guys used to drive to the back. Bro, the score used to be 75 to 80 at the end of a game. You know, we're getting some of these scores at halftime now. I'm not in favor for one or the other. I would like a healthy balance of both in a mix. I don't mind the increase in threes. I don't like when we're shooting 60 threes a game and 50. It gets a little nasty in my opinion. Yeah. I miss guys kind of going to the basket and finishing through contact. I miss some of the physicality of the game. I'm all for threes too. Trust me, I play for the Rockets, man. If you didn't shoot a 3, you're getting taken out. I understand both sides. I kind of like that middle ground area. So it is what it is, man.